In this clip, we'll take a look at how to tackle problems that involve interest that is being compounded quarterly. So I'll try a problem down here on the left side, and then near the end of the clip, I'll get you to practice a problem on paper, and I'll post the solution here. Let's have a look at the question that I'll solve. If $2,000 is invested at 8% per year, compounded quarterly, what is the total amount after 5 years? Since this question is talking about an investment being compounded, I know I'm going to need to use my compound interest formula. So let's have a look at what that looks like. And let's do a refresher on each variable in that formula. The first variable, A, is in dollars, and it's the amount that we end up with after we're done our investing. P is the principal, and it's also in dollars, and it's the amount of money that we started off with before we began investing. I is our interest rate, and it's expressed as a percent, and it's the speed that our money grows while it's investing. And finally, that little exponent is N, and it's the number of times the money is compounded, or the number of periods that we're compounding. Keep your eye on I and N in this problem because we'll have to do a little bit of converting with the numbers before we can just go ahead and use the formula. The first thing we'll do is list our givens in the question. And the first number I see is $2,000, and that's the amount that's being invested, and that's how much money we started off with. So that is our P, or principal. So the P in this question will be equal to $2,000. The next number I see is a rate. It's got a percent, and it's 8%. So that's going to be our I. I is equal to 8%. Now keep your eye on that percent because in the next step we'll have to convert this before we can use it. And finally, we need a value for N, the number of times the money is compounded. The key here is this word, quarterly. Quarterly means something divided into 4. So we're compounding 4 times in a year. And since we have 5 years, well, we have 4 times per year and 5 years. We need those two numbers to figure out our N. So 4 times per year, and we're running this for 5 years. 4 times 5 is 20, and that's the number of periods we're compounding. So remember, in a quarterly question, we need this 4. And the next step will be to convert this 8%. In step 2, the first thing we'll do is take our 8% and divide it into 4, in other words, into quarters. And that's because the rate is given per year. However, we need to know the rate per quarter, so we'll divide it by 4. And 8% divided by 4, well, that's 2%. The next thing I need to do is convert this percent into decimal so I can use it in the formula. So to do that, I'll just write down the 2 without the percent sign, and then I'm going to shift a decimal point 2 places to the left, in effect dividing the number by 100. And I arrive at 0.02. So 2% converted to decimal is 0.02. And now we've done everything we need to do to go ahead and use our formula. Using the compound interest formula, I'll just fill in my knowns that are in step 1. My principal, the P, is going to be 2,000. And I have a 1 plus my new value of I, which I convert in step 2, which is 0.02. And my exponent is the N, which we found to be 20. Next, I'll tidy this up just a little bit by bringing the 1 and the 0.02 together in the bracket. So I'll say 2,000 is equal to 1 plus 0.02 is 1.02. And that's still to the exponent 20. Now I can go ahead and use my calculator for the last step. I'm going to take 1.02 and do the exponent of 20 on it. Take that answer and multiply it by 2,000. So 1 0.02 to the exponent, which is this button here, x to the y, 20, equals, and I'll times that by 2,000. And I get an answer of $2,971.89. We'll round to 2 decimal places. So the final amount is $2,971.89. And that is my final answer. So our money has grown from $2,000 to almost $3,000, $2,971.89. And the last thing I'll do is show you my concluding statement. Therefore, the total amount is $2,971.89. And there you have it, my problem's all solved. Now it's your turn to do some practice compounding quarterly. Here's the problem you can try on your own on paper. If $200 is invested at 12% per year, compounded quarterly, what is the total amount after 5 years? Okay, so try that one now, and when you're ready, I'll present the solution down below. And the answer is $361.22. First, we listed our givens, our P, I, and N, which was 20. Then in step 2, we divided our I by 4 because we're compounding quarterly, and we converted our answer into decimal. Finally, in step 3, we plugged in our P, I, and N and solved for A, the amount, $361.22.